The National Basketball Association is known for being flexible when it comes to changing the rules. Over the course of its past, the NBA has made a number of rule changes that were big. Here they are. Number 6. How fouls are called. The NBA just announced that there will be a change in how offensive players with the ball who do non-basketball moves to try to get a foul called on them will be interpreted. Because of this, it's possible that referees won't blow their whistles as often as they have in the past. In an interview with Chris Mannix and Howard Beck on the Crossover NBA show earlier this month, NBA Vice President of Referee Development and Training, Monty McCutcheon, talked about this change and explained what the league plans to do as a result. If good play puts you at a disadvantage, then a foul should be called, regardless of whether it was done on offense or defense. We have no plans to get rid of every single pump fake. We are trying to get rid of the use of a pump fake, which can cause the defender to launch in an unnatural way. If the offensive player hadn't started out at such an odd angle, the defensive player wouldn't have been able to touch the offensive player. We want to find a balance between defensive players' ability to compete with passion and an offensive player's ability to compete with passion. When we find that balance, we'll have good competition. So far, it looks like people in the NBA, especially Warriors point guard Stephen Curry, are reacting well to the change that was made. Anthony Slater of The Athletic said that Curry said, "You sit in a boardroom all summer and watch film. It's hard to know how it will translate on the court." Here, all of what Curry said was quoted. But keeping the game honest is without a doubt the most important thing about it. Instead of spending time and energy trying to get to the foul line in any way possible, the goal is to score points by shooting the ball through the hoop. I love getting things done. During the last 2 minutes of each NBA game, there will be a small change made to how they are played. In the past, reviews for out-of-bounds calls made at that time were started by the officials, but in the future, it will be up to the coaches to question them, just like they have been doing during earlier parts of the game. The league has decided to keep its play-in tournament. 4 teams from each conference will compete against each other to see who gets the last 4 spots in the playoffs. This system was used for the first time during the 2020-21 season. The number 7 seed will go to the winner of the match between positions 7 and 8. The number 8 seed will go to the winner of the match between the positions 9 and 10. The number 7 seed will go to the winner of the match between positions 7 and 8. Number 5. Adding the shot clock. In the history of the NBA, there has never been a change that had a bigger effect on the game than the shot clock. Even though the three-point line has had a big impact, this is the case. Players on each team used to be able to keep control of the ball for as long as they wanted, which made games last forever. Some of the games with the fewest points, like the one between the Lakers and the Pistons in 1950, ended with neither team having scored 20 points. Because of this, the National Basketball Association started using a shot clock in 1954. This quickly sped up the game and made competitions more interesting and goal-oriented. If that one thing hadn't changed, basketball would have never gotten anywhere near where it is now. Number 4. The three-point line. If you look at how the NBA has changed over time, it would be hard to find something more important than the three-point line. This one change, which was made during the 1979-1980 season, is not only led to a big jump in scoring, but it also helped build the NBA as we know it today. Every team puts a lot of emphasis on making three-point shots, which was impossible in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Before that, you could only get 2 points for making a basket, no matter how far you shot from. Teams just weren't as ready for threats from the outside as they are now, which may seem strange to some people given how important the three-point shot is in today's game. Number 3. A wider free throw line. A lot of people in the history of basketball think that Wilt Chamberlain came up with the rule that moved the free throw line from 12 feet to 16 feet. Back in the day, the guards used to have a big problem. They didn't have enough means to be able to compete with the big cities. Most big players would sit on the block, catch the ball right under the basket, and then either turn or spin around to make a simple layup. This problem was first brought to light by George Mikan, who was so big that he could completely rule from the bottom spot. Because of him and how powerful he was, the NBA changed the length of the foul line from 6 feet to 12 feet in 1952. On the other hand, that plan only worked for a total of 12 years. In 1964, the league chose to make it even longer, from 14 to 16 feet, so Wilt wouldn't be able to score too easily. This is a small change to the rules, but will have a big impact. It changed how big players played the game, and gave players on the outside of the court a lot more chances to score. Number 2. Banning and unbanning the zone defense. Anyone who has watched a lot of basketball knows that the NBA teams almost never play a zone defense, and when they do, it is never a 2-to-3 shape. This is partly because teams prefer to play man defense, and partly because the defensive 3-second rule makes it hard to run a zone defense. The whole time, that was done on plan. This rule change, which made it illegal for teams to play in a zone defense, was one of the first in the history of basketball. And it changed the way the game was played in a big way. In 1947, the Basketball Association of America made the plan illegal, so that teams would have to play more aggressively. Even though a lot of people were against the change at first, it ended up making the games faster, the defense better, more points scored, and the whole thing more fun to watch. When the BAA merged with the National Basketball League in 1949 to form the NBA, they decided that the rules should stay the same. In the end, the zone defense was brought back into the NBA for the 2001 season. But because of the defensive 3-second rule and the increased importance of long-range shooting, teams almost never switch from man-to-man defense unless it's completely necessary. Number 1. The banning of basket interference. Anyone who has ever watched basketball knows that players can't use the goalie position for either defense or offense. But the league got rid of defensive goaltending in 1944. But offensive goaltending, which is also called basket interference, didn't start until 1956. Most people say that Wilt Chamberlain started this change because he made a lot of money by just tipping in baskets that went over the rim. It was much easier for big guys to score, and some attacking sets had to be done in a very different way. The league decided that obstruction made some plays too easy and gave players who were bigger a clear advantage. Because of this, they decided to get rid of it completely. It also caused the number of returns to go down, which took away an important part of the game. Over the course of their histories, the rules of all major sports have changed. But basketball has had more important rule changes than almost any other sport. The NBA didn't get to where it is now in one day. Even so, the changes that were made were almost always good, as the cases above show. As the game keeps getting better, there is no doubt that more changes will be made over time. Given the current state of the game, no one knows exactly what they will look like. But given the current state of the game, they will definitely be about three-pointers and fouls. Thanks for watching this video.